Okay, Ben, what's your experience with working with South Africans?
Most of them are pretty upbeat about being at work. They want to be here. I don't know. That's a tough question because
Yeah, and I mean, you guys have had probably all age groups here about, young guys, sort of middle aged, a bit older. I mean, what's your experience with that, and what would you say you guys prefer? Like, is there a certain age that you would prefer, that you have an experience with, younger age, middle age, whatever?
it doesn't really matter what age. You just need to be upbeat and can't complain about the work. I mean, even if it's bad, there's good and bad work here. You're not going to get all of either one. With every job, there's going to be bad and good.
We have a vast variety of jobs which require different levels of abilities. Some of it's a lot of physical. The younger guys step in there, and we really respect that. Their back is fresh, they're new. And we also have a positions for, the older guy that can sit in a truck all day and never make a mistake, and be safe going down the road because he's got the experience behind it. It's hard to find one that fits all of our work positions. All of the work that we do is not all the same. It's different levels of, but to find a guy that's very good at all of it is, we know that's a rarity, but they're out there.
Yeah.
We're looking for them.
Yeah, you got to find it somewhere.
And we're willing to teach a lot, but we can't teach it all to people that just start out. It's very hard and it's costly. The other thing is, it's not cheap to hire you guys. There's a lot of outside expenses, the cost of living, vehicles, airline tickets, housing. It all comes with it. It's all part of it. So when you look at the wage, you guys get to take home just about every dollar because the expenses are all incurred by the farm operation. So that being said, we have to expect a fair amount of good work. We do offer, good downtime, and it's a good experience. And what I've always told every employee, if you learn just a few things every day, you get to take that home with you free. That's yours to keep. So if you learn something out on the farm that you didn't know before, you don't have to pay tuition for it.
Yeah, it's experience and it's knowledge.
It's an experience. It might not be the same as what you have back home, but you get to take all that back home. And just about everybody that's worked on the farm, pretty happy to know how to do it after that.
Yeah.
And we do a variety of, from, shop repair to plant science to animal science to, just common, everyday truck driving and, trying to be safe.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's a lot to all of it.
Yep.
So, like you asked, what position? Well, we got them all.
Yeah, jack of all trades.
Well, that's farming. That's we got to wear every hat there is out there.
Yeah, yeah. Mr. Ray, what is, like, if I may ask, what does it cost you to hire a South African?
I would say somewhere between $24 to $30 an hour if you put all the indirect and direct costs together.
Yeah.
The H2A program is not cheap. It's costly. And, we're only hiring for 10 months, so it's not a full year position. There's a lot of expenses to it.
Yeah.
We expect, pretty good workers out of that. So, for it to work for both parties, can't have any slackers, can't have any quitters. We pay a little bit of a bonus for, to year-end contract. It's an incentive. We try and make it a good work environment, and we try and have very good tools and stuff to work with. So, that being said, we got to keep it that way.
Yeah.
Can't lose the tools and can't rack up the machinery because that's all costs incurred.
Yeah. So, Mr. Ryan, a lot of questions I get about working in America and farming, so there's a perception from South Africa, like they see all these TikToks and they see all the social media posts, and it looks like a very glamorous sort of thing to come and do in America. What would you look at, skills and age? Let's say if somebody's got all the skills, but they have a bad attitude, okay, you don't know that. You don't know what attitude the person's going to have. But I mean, would you rather hire somebody with a lot of skills that is hot-headed and knows everything, or would you rather hire somebody with a little bit of skill, but that's willing to learn and that's got a good attitude?
Well, that kind of question goes back to interviewing. First off, when you interview with H2A, you get to talk to them, you get to look at their resume, and you never get to meet them. I look at it like buying a car from a different country. You never get to kick the tires or take it for a ride.
Yeah.
So when you ask the question about attitude, that's a must. That's a first. That has to be there. If the attitude's not there, that was a failure on my part. That was a failure on the interview. If you don't have a good attitude and a positive attitude, somewhere somebody missed the boat on the system. When you guys come here, expect a lot of things through the program. For one, just getting along in the house with other workers, keeping the house neat and clean, because that's not your property. It needs to be kept up by who's ever housing in the work camp. And then as far as attitude, that kind of goes right along with the machinery and your performance of work. If you got a bad attitude, generally, if you're rushed or you're pushed or you don't like your job, you're going to take it out on the equipment.
Yeah.
And most farm operations of any size today, well over $1 million worth of equipment that they're run daily. If you don't take care of that, that's very expensive.
Yeah.
And then it gets to be where the cost of the equipment overrides the cost of the help. And it's like, why are we even doing this?
Yeah.
Let's cut back in size and do away with the help.
Yeah.
So respect for equipment and attitude, that's got to be a first. After that, we can work with training. We can work with skills. We can't start on the bottom with skills, though. And it's not, when you come here, it's not a free-for-all. It's not a fun experience. It's costly. Yeah. It's an employment experience. That's different from going to college. Some kids go on to tech school or college and they think it's just the time to go party and get away from mom and dad. We got to be past that. We can't start from that level. You're coming to work.
And if you come to work with a bad attitude, you're going to argue with the boss because everyone has a different way of doing things.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to listen to the way the farmer wants it done, you're going to have a fight with them. You're going to argue, and if you can't be told what to do, you might as well not even come.
Well, the farm pays the paycheck.
Yep.
And that's who makes the decisions, because the farmer's responsible to make the payment and make the wage.
Yeah.
So if that doesn't work, then nobody gets to move forward.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no money left.
Yeah.
So there's some bad instances where things didn't work out. The last thing a farmer wants to do is let an employee go if he says what he's there to do and what he is, because he's got a lot of money invested already, and he needs that employee.
Yeah.
So for the most part, the farmer has a good attitude.
Yeah.
Or he wouldn't join the program, or he wouldn't be farming, because keep in the back of your mind, that farmer gets along with a lot more people than just his employees.
Yeah.
He's got ag services. He's got grain marketing to do. He's got contractors to work with. His circle of people he deals with is a lot greater than just a work. He's got to go home and get along with his wife.
Make her happy. Yeah. So another question that I get a lot is about age. So obviously the situation in South Africa is really bad, so a lot of older people now in their 50s, 60s will ask me, will they have a chance on a farm at that age? What would you sort of say to them? What would you let me ask you, if you have to hire somebody that's 55 or 60, would you hire somebody that age?
A lot of that is based on his past experience. I rely a lot on his past resume, and if he's got good resumes out there. If I call up somebody 4 states away and he says hire him because he's a damn good worker, you can count on him, that's the best advice I can give you. If you get a person of age, he must have a past, either at South Africa or here, of a good resume. There's nothing better on your resume than a good contact.
That's why it's important to leave your last job in good faith with the employer. And impress him. Try to, at least.
Yeah.
There's no doubt if I call a fellow farmer and talk to him and say, hey, would you hire him again? Tell me about this guy. And he gives me 100% South African talk. I'm going to call him up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to rely on that farmer's experience, because if he says I'd hire him back, but if he tells me something like, well, he was all right, I know he's just being good to the guy.
Yeah.
So like Ben had said, if you want to come back, you got to do right. You got to make it good. You got to have a good relationship with everybody.
Yeah.
Because, you hired him, you gave him a chance. And on the flip side, it sounds like there's a lot of people really like to come to the program. And we want to keep the program honest and good, and no better way than doing that than having good workers come
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that want to come to work. We want to have a good program. We're paying good money for it, and we want you guys to go home with some money and a good experience and want to come back.
Yep, exactly.
So
Another part of leaving the farmer in good faith is if you're a great worker and the farmer loves you, but you go home to the other guys and can't get along with them, fight like hell,
Yeah.
he'll tell the next farmer that he's a great worker, but he can't get along with anyone
Yeah.
and can't work with anyone. Why would we want to hire him?
Yeah, exactly. Because it will cause problems.
It will.
I mean,
It'll cause drama, and
yeah.
we don't want any drama in the workplace. That's for women.
Yeah. Leave that at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at a resume, so you've got a few resumes and you've got to make a decision who you're going to hire. What do you look at?
The main thing that I like to look at is if the guy posted a video. That's what I looked on yours.
Yeah.
You had tons of videos of you doing stuff.
obviously our farm operation's not going to be the same as the next person hiring.
Yeah.
We have mostly crops, irrigation, that type of thing. The next guy might have beef cattle. The next guy might do a lot of fertilizer or custom application.
Yeah.
So that question's kind of vague or unfair because what I look at might not be the same as the next farmer.
Yeah.
What I look at is what jobs do I need extra help on? What will fill my needs?
What can fill that position?
Exactly.
Yeah.
If the guy's got a past of good truck driving and I
Yeah.
need a truck driver, I'll look at that.
Yeah.
If I got a lot of, and it also pertains to what we're doing that next year.
Yeah.
If we're doing a lot of construction renovation, I'll look at somebody that's got qualities in that because I need different men for different position.
Yeah.
So I don't do one fits all.
Yeah.
So if I've got a lot of construction to do and I don't have a truck driver, now I'm in trouble getting grain hauled in.
Yeah. Because
So that makes sense to where I pick a little bit from either side or different
Yeah.
resumes. There's not one resume that, generally there's not one guy that can do all of it.
yeah.
Everybody's got their qualities, and that's part of the interview when you ask how many times you know, how much roofing did you do? How much concrete did you pour?
Yeah.
How much truck driving did you do? Or, you know, you're great at crop science. You could scout fields for me. You work on irrigation stuff. You could help set up. We got a couple spans going up this year. All of that's important. You're great at wiring. Super. You know, we got a whole setup to help out. You know,
Oh, yeah. Electrician.
or are you good at heist? Can you climb grain silos? And you got some upgrades to do on the grain setups.
Yeah.
And you experienced that yourself, Doc. You know, a lot of stuff you didn't do, but I knew from the start you were good at a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's all you can tell if someone's good right away
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
their demeanor and their problem solving
Yeah.
and how they use their hands to work.
Yeah.
A lot of people are kind of ditzy. I don't know. I don't want to be rude,
But that's the truth. I think that's
and your phone in your pocket is the biggest tool of all. If you want to prove to someone that you know how to do stuff, make a time lapse of you doing the whole job. It's not very hard.
yeah.
And then that farmer will see, oh, that's how he's going to run that wire, or that's how he's going to take that wheel off, and he's doing it
I
quick
like that.
and timely and fast.
I like that idea. Yeah, that's between the worker and the employer, where there's so much uncertainty before the employment or being employed, and that first week or month or whatever of that employee being on your farm. And like you said, it costs you a lot of money. I mean, you know, earning $18 an hour, or whatever the case may be. That's if you actually go and see how much the housing cost and utilities and, you know, gas and all that stuff. I think, how would you, okay, you look at a CV, something pops up, or you read something on that CV that sort of interests you to, because I think I'm trying to help the guys back home understand how to set up their CV the right way, make a proper cover letter, and do a CV video like what Ben said is that pops up for him. I mean,
Yeah.
how are you going to stand out?
One thing is, don't put all the things you drive. Explain how you drive a couple things.
Yeah,
If you know how to operate a tractor, explain the controls, explain what you did.
yeah,
Like if you're putting nitrogen on, explain the gallons, because you can't lie when you explain that kind of stuff.
yeah,
But if you just say you drove a 8130 tractor, okay, anyone can drive an 8130 tractor, put it in gear and go.
yeah.
But if you explain how you operate it,
That's
that
different.
would stand out.
That's different.
Yep.
And
The
Mr.
big
Ray,
term that I had mentioned you earlier is we're looking for operators, not drivers. And the difference between a driver is you show him how to run the controls and he goes and drives. Difference between an operator is he can go and take that machine and do something with it. He knows how to run the controls and drive, but he can actually see what the machine is doing.
yeah,
It's so important to call it an operator because a driver can just go out there and drive and something happens. He's like, well, I don't know what happened. And the operator will come back and say, yep, we had problems with this. This was the cause of this, and this is what we need to remedy the problem.
yeah,
It takes a long time for a driver to turn into an operator because an operator really understands what's happening while he's doing the task.
yeah,
The idea that we just come out here and plow up land and they need a position for that is so far removed. Very few farms just go out and plow. It's position's not really available because we do almost 100% no-till, and most of our activity is fertilizer application, planting, spraying, everything that the crop needs besides plowing.
yeah,
Even at harvest, there's not one position for the whole season. We do it all. It's hauling grain to drying grain to storing it to crawling bends to shoveling up behind the truck.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a spill.
Most of you young guys just see TikTok videos of using the auto steer going across a straight, nice flat field right in the middle. They only show the easy parts. That's it.
yeah,
They don't show turning around at the end or opening up the field or making your end rows or nothing. They just show going straight across the field, and that's not what you do here. It's you don't drive a tractor like that. It's not even close.
Don't get me wrong. We
Yeah.
have autos here. We have all the tools and technology. It's our job to apply and utilize all that stuff, and it doesn't always work. It's not all glamorous. It's not sitting behind a seat and not knowing what you're doing. Just put the button and away you go. You got to understand what that machine's doing because you're now sitting in a very expensive machine, and you're expected to operate. And if you don't get it, you get to have a scoop shovel.
And yeah, most of you young guys will start with the old machine. That's not nice
yeah,
because you don't have experience. And if you think you're going to come here and get promoted to the top of the list and go to the nicest machine with auto steer we got, that's totally wrong. If you have the experience, maybe.
yeah,
So, Jake, back to your question on what age do we hire? We don't look at age near as much as responsibility and ability. If the guy's young and he's got a good work ethic and he's got the responsibility and a good resume behind him, absolutely I'll give a young guy a chance to farm. Or very old, if he's got years of experience, driving grain or running a combine, golly, there's nothing said for experience. That's a big value. You don't need to swing a hammer. I'll put the young guy in that job or do it myself. We have a father-son operation where we work hands-on with all the employees. No matter what job it is, we're right there with them. That's a little different than some operations. We're a small operation, and yet we still hire a fair amount of help. We don't have new equipment, but we got pretty much the latest of technology. We utilize it the best we can. We have nice equipment. We try and keep it nice, and we do a lot of technical work. Probably more than most operations.
yeah,
We tear into truck frames to engines to putting up irrigation stuff to wiring grain setups. It don't make a lot of difference what it is.
yep,
We figure it out. So it gets to be a very nice experience to learn. You'll get to have hands-on with what we're doing,
yeah,
but you'll still get to sweep the shop floor. Somebody's got to do it.
yeah,
Because if you just come here with the attitude that you're going to drive a tractor, you're going to have a hard time.
Everybody gets to do all of it. It's all got to get done.
Yeah, you're going to be doing the shitty jobs too.
yeah.
No matter what.
And I think that's where a lot of people have a misperception of coming to work in America, is that it's just glamorous, but it's not. It's hard.
It's very hard. It's intense at times, but we do have a family operation. Some of the qualities are to that. We were out on a boat a few times. We have family experiences. We bring out meals if it's long days. We have a fun experience. Most of the guys that worked for me or in the past, or even my local help, some of them come back year to year, enjoy it because it's a family operation.
Yeah.
It is a work camp. There's always plenty of work to do. You don't go home clean,
No.
but that's all part of it.
Yeah.
Even the boss gets just as dirty and takes
Yeah.
some of the worst jobs. So.
Yeah. And Mr. Ray, that's something I saw in America, is that, like, with your age, you being 65,
More than that, keep going.
Are you more?
No,
Oh.
I'm turning 65. Come on now.
Okay. Well, you still look good. I mean,
Thank you.
I didn't think that was your age, but I mean, you guys just work on a different level. I mean, I think, I mean, I struggled a few times to keep up with you, and yeah, I take off my hat for that. I mean, we farmers back home work hard as well, and I mean, I think that's what South African people coming to work for farmers like yourself is to respect that and have a level of respect towards you.
Well, when it's your own farm operation, you take a lot of pride in it.
Yeah.
We're in Wisconsin, so we have the seasons. So if you don't get your work done, you get behind. So you really respect Mother Nature. So to be on the cutting edge of getting your stuff done on time, you have to push it. You got to make it happen. There's a time for slacking off, and there's a time for getting her done. And sometimes it takes long hours. The weather's going to bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
And you don't get to get that back.
Yeah, you have to run.
Well, even like today, it's -6 this morning,
Yeah.
Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
And when we finished harvest, what was it? Not quite freezing yet.
Yeah.
And we could still be harvesting right now if we didn't get our shit done.
Yeah, if we
And
didn't finish.
That would really suck because
Yeah.
stuff wouldn't start. And
It's
Yeah.
more
not good.
costly also to
Yeah.
try and do your work behind schedule, and it's unproductive.
Yeah.
And the American farmer is the survival of the fittest. The productive guy, he gets a little bigger and makes a little better at it, and the one that can't quite cut it, he falls off pretty fast.
Yeah.
Because it's fine line. There's not a lot of profit to it.
Yeah.
The net return on farming is lucky to have a 5% return. And there's no other business in the United States that run on those tight of margins. So it's volume and productivity.
I mean, you really have to love it.
You
to
gotta
do
love it. It's a
guess.
passion that's passed on. It's not the worst job out there, but it's next thing to it. But it's got its rewards. I've raised my families on the farm, and my son's with me for a reason.
Yeah.
He could do a lot of things, I know that, instead of farming.
Yeah, and Ben is only 21, and I mean, I'm 46, and I've learned a lot of things from Ben, which mechanical, operational, and I think you have to be open-minded. If you, as South African, to come and work in America, is to respect age, experience, and sort of learn from that, and not think you know everything, because I think that's a challenge for a lot of South Africans, is that there's a lot of knowledge, and we don't come here being stupid, but respect the knowledge that there is and learn from that. And yeah, so
Well, to sum it up, it's a great program. I'm glad they do it. It's 100% honest program. It's with the government. It's very expensive, and hats off to Valerie, my better half. She does all the book work for it. It's very intense. You have to do extra insurance. You got to do extra bookkeeping. It's a lot, and she does not take any money for that. So that cost I can bear, and she's so promotional to it. She brings lunches out.
Yeah.
She's like another partner for me. And hats off to my son, because I wouldn't do it with any other partner than my son. I mean, that's part of the reason we're doing some of this stuff. So it's a win-win for all, and it's legal. We have a lot of people in this country that are illegal working, and I don't want to go there. You guys are coming over, you're paying taxes, and you're helping out with our economy. You're helping out with wage, supplying a wage. And in return, you go home with an experience and a good paycheck, and maybe one day you guys want to farm at your place. You can take that knowledge with you.
Exactly.
So I guess it's a good thing.
Yeah. Maybe not possible in South Africa, but maybe in the future, like many years from now. But Mr. Ray, thank you. Ben, thank you. I think this just helps. The reason I'm doing this is it helps people to understand, like both parties, farmers in America and South Africans coming to work here, what the program is about and what farming in America is about. Trying to just solve some of the misperceptions that there is, and sort of just create a clear view of this. And it's hard working on a farm. It's
Jake, you're given a
difficult.
first-hand experience. This is just a quaint little interview. I'm not sure if it'll make a difference, but this is a farm operation that Jake has helped us out on. We enjoyed working with Jock, I should say.
Yeah.
I can't get these names quite right.
That's good.
But if I had 5 Jocks, it'd be just great to work with, because a lot of you people are very good workers. The program works out well then. Make sure that you're coming over here to go to work, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's got some tough times to it, and we all have that in every country.
Yeah.
It's not a free-for-all.
Yeah. And I think it's coming to work in the morning and giving your best with a good attitude, being open-minded, and going home and to close the day off, you know, and come back the next day with a fresh new outlook on it. Because I think it is difficult sometimes as a South African. There's a bit of a communication problem sometimes, and because I think what you say sometimes, then I think, okay, that's what you said, or that's what you want me to do. Then I go do it, and I'm not 100% sure, and it might have not been the right thing that I've done. But I think the big thing there is just to ask. You know, doesn't matter, just ask 100 times, but you will eventually learn. I think that's what's important. And
we are in an area where the cell phones work about 50% of the time, and it makes it more complicated.
Yeah,
We supply cell phones and internet, but it makes it more complicated for the employee, and it doubles up because now all of a sudden we have a little bit of a language barrier, culture barrier, and now you put a cell phone barrier on top of that. Instructions get to be scrambled. It's tough on the employer and the employee. So when you're reliant on, oh, I can just call the boss, or I can just call my boss, my son, that's not always so easy. And then you forget what you were told for the day and what job, and you're out there all alone. Darn, it's a tough one. And sometimes you see the help come driving back, and you're like, what did he do now?
What happened?
I've always said not knowing what to do takes the most time. It uses up the most time.
Or that, or doing something the wrong field, or the wrong machine, or screwing something up.
Yep.
Why didn't you call me? I couldn't get through to you. That's just not the right answer. What part of this didn't you understand when you got there? So, yeah, it's not easy. And like I say, the cell phone barrier is a very tough thing to get past. But there's tools out there. We'll make it work. We're looking at switching carriers because we can get more service in tight areas.
Yeah, better coverage.
The big part of it is communication. When you say, yep, I feel that you understood what I said, but when you get there and yep didn't work, yep's not the right answer.
Yeah, you're going to get an ass chewed.
When things get tight and tough, it's generally, it's not calm when things ain't happening right. So bit of ass chewing is what's going to happen. And if you don't learn from there, or, you know, if you can't put your big boy pants on, you want to cry about it, we don't have room for that. There's no room for crybabies here. You got to toughen up and stick it out and
don't be too proud to admit you're wrong.
Yeah.
If you're screwed up, tell me. I mean, I'm going to find out. I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm going to see why you were there wrong, or drove wrong direction, or screwed this up. I'm going to know what happened. I fixed a lot of mistakes. Another one's not going to be uncommon, but I sure not going to let you do it the next time.
I mean, that's a way to learn, but
yeah.
Thank you very much. I think the last question is, how's your experience been with your agents? Or like, as a farmer, you need to file a petition, or you need to file a I-797 form or a petition form, and that's the role of the agent, I guess. You hire an agent that does that. What's your experience with the agents? And
Valerie is very hands-on with that, so my experience with working with the agents, I think I only talked with the agent 1 or 2 times. For the most part, she's right on top of that. Valerie's a teacher in a tech college, and she's very straightforward. She's very rehearsed on people. Her people skills are
very good.
Top of the line. She is very direct.
A lot better than ours.
We had a tough accident on the farm, and we worked with that. She worked with it very thoroughly with the insurance company. The employee is still with us, and that's a miracle.
Oh, yeah.
But at that point, we're still helping him out.
Yeah.
We're still, it's a partnership when you get here. We're responsible for our help. We take care of our help.
Yeah. And
we'll make sure the help gets the best of the best.
Yeah.
So as far as, communication with our recruiter, it's a link, but the recruiter is only bringing the connection between the worker and the farm. It's still my job to figure out what my needs are to
exactly.
fulfill my needs.
Yeah,
And if that doesn't happen right, that's where I feel I failed. And, if we get a bad resume and dishonest, that's egg on everybody's face. That works for no one.
yeah,
So you guys, when you come over here to make it happen, and no better place to make it happen than the real life. It's the real thing out here.
exactly. Yeah,
When it comes to getting dirty, you got to get hands on. Got to make it go.
yep,
You
yep,
don't always get to do what you want. A lot of people come over here thinking they're going to do what they want and work what hours they want, and that's just not how it goes. When it's
Yeah.
season for planting or season for harvesting, it's usually 7 days a week.
yeah,
Well, when we're farming, farmers don't abide by a 40-hour week. That's never going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know of any farmer that shuts down at 5 o'clock and gets to work finally by 8. It's just when the sun is going, it's time to rock and roll. We get a few slack days, but not too many. We don't run out of work, is what
Yeah.
my best line is. Everybody figures, well, maybe I won't have enough work on that job. And like one of my employees says, you'll be the first one to ask for a day off, and you might not give it to you. The boss will be there before you start, usually after you end.
No, that's great. Mr. Ray, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you
You're
for the
welcome.
work, and thank you for the opportunity to sort of just talk to you, and somebody's
Okay.
looking for you.
Somebody's calling.
Thank you.